Are you starting to get a little concerned about what you see going on in the world? We have major changes on a geopolitical level. Does Vladimir Putin, President Xi from China, do they have a master plan? Are moves by the United States and the Western countries backfiring? And what does this all mean for the price of gold and silver? There have been some major recent developments that will have a big impact on the world stage and the precious metals as we move into the coming weeks, months, and quarters. Let's talk about a few of these recent developments, the big ones, and see what we think is going to happen to the price of the precious metals. Let's do it right now. Do you get the feeling that a new world order is emerging, an East versus West, a G7 versus BRICS, whatever you want to call it? Doesn't it feel like the Eastern countries are starting to band together? We'll briefly touch on the most recent major news story, which was the price caps placed on Russian oil, at which the Russians basically laughed and said, we're looking at this on a long-term basis. Our partners will get to decide and choose if they want to buy oil from us or buy oil from the West. The big difference being that the oil that the Russians make available to their partners is generally at a very low price, at or near or below where the price caps are right now. And sure, the West, the G7 nations, they control a majority of the world's shipping of oil, but this will only force the Russians and the Chinese and the Indians to come up with new ways to transport their oils within their own ecosystem. And that's the big key. These countries, these BRICS countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, possibly now Egypt, we're hearing, possibly Saudi Arabia, possibly like 12 additional countries. They're developing their own ecosystem. That includes a new reserve currency, which they can use to trade within one another as the world separates, right? That new currency they want to use to trade within their own little ecosystem, it will be backed very most likely by precious metals, gold, silver, and they've mentioned some other real assets. But at the end of the day, if you're going to back a currency with something, it's much easier to back it with precious metals. If you try to back it with oil or wheat or corn or something else, those things perish and go away, whereas we know gold and silver have held their value for thousands and thousands of years. And let me know what you think about this very interesting point. As the West is forcing these Eastern countries to band together, those countries are selling U.S. treasuries at a record pace. And what are they doing with the money they're getting from selling the U.S. treasuries? Central bank buying of gold is at an all-time high. So as the USA and the West try to control the world's most highly traded, the world's most important commodity, oil, what they're running into is probably similar to what a parent runs into when they try to control a 17 or 18-year-old child. They are getting rebellion back in their face, and it is growing and growing. Now, speaking of children, I need to say hello to Grayson. He's 6 years old. See, the bear is saying, hi, Grayson. He's the grandchild of a loyal viewer, loyal commenter of Ron's Basement, Jeff K. So hello, Grayson. We're glad you're here. You're a big 6-year-old, and keep stacking those silver and gold coins. Well, aren't things getting crazy in the world? One thing for sure, know that you, yes, you, the one and only you, are always welcome to join me here in Ron's Basement. I put out a new video darn near every day. And while things are confusing, it's hard to discern what's going on. We can try to look at things from a higher level, try to see the forest through the trees, and we can do that together. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe right here. Let's get back to the video. Did you see the recent, in the last few days, big news about the visit by President Xi of China to Saudi Arabia? They're becoming very fast, very close friends. I mean, it was like they rolled out the red carpet. They went over the top in welcoming President Xi to Saudi Arabia. They flew fighter jets over with smoke trails of the Chinese flag colors. A stark contrast to when President Joe Biden went to Saudi Arabia just 6 weeks ago and got not much more than a fist pump from MBS. So as we're looking at this and we're looking at coordination and cooperation between Saudi Arabia and China, right? And remember, China is best buddies with Russia. China is part of the BRICS. Saudi Arabia, there's rumors, there's supposed quality information saying that Saudi Arabia may very well be joining the BRICS. Are the Chinese going to start buying oil in yuan? Remember this big deal, the petrodollar. Started in the mid-1970s by Henry Kissinger, I believe it was. That has given the U.S. dollar all of its value over the last 5 decades. If the petrodollar falls apart, that was an agreement we had with Saudi Arabia. We will protect you. However, you can only sell oil in dollars. That had the Saudis funneling a lot of dollars back into U.S. treasuries. All of this seems to be on shaky ground. And the Chinese and the Saudis, I don't know, they signed like 25 big deals just in the last few days regarding oil, regarding technology, regarding construction. The world is changing right before our very eyes. And when you add countries like Iran into this Eastern BRICS alliance, you start to realize that these countries have a huge chunk of the world's population, of the world's economy, and of the world's natural resources. Does it feel like to you the world's being faced with a choice? Either go with the East or go with the West. Go with Russia, China, go with cheap energy, or stand with the United States, stand with Europe and the G7. It sure feels like a lot of these things we've heard Putin say over the last 6 months or so are coming to fruition, that the world will stop, adhering to these globalistic policies, that the world will move from an imaginary economy of fake wealth, right? Like fiat money, paper printing money, to an economy of real assets. It feels like it's all happening right before our very eyes. But let's do a friendly reminder. These countries also love their gold and silver. They have a ton of gold, silver, platinum, palladium. They mine a ton of those metals. And it will be very important for them as they develop their own internal ecosystem with their own trade currency that it be backed by these metals. And then, doesn't it start to make sense why Vladimir Putin has expressly stated that he will be starting a new central hub, a new trading platform, developing a new spot price for the precious metals, the Moscow World Standard, a new exchange that will compete directly with the COMEX in the United States of America and the LBMA, the London Bullion Market Association. His new central hub will compete directly with them, and he's made it pretty clear that he knows the price of the metals has been manipulated. I think maybe we know that as well. However this plays out, it will be very interesting. I believe that the future for the precious metals looks very good. We'll see how it plays out. I'll be here for you through it all, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time.